event on the biggest stage, Ilia, the Matador, Topuria.
It doesn't matter what people say or what people think about me. I know that I'm going to be the biggest superstar in the UFC because of all the things you are going to see.
February 2024, Ilia Topuria walks into the octagon. Across from him is Alexander Volkanovski, the pound-for-pound king. For years, Alex seemed like an unsolvable puzzle that nobody could figure out. But here's the thing. 2 months prior to the fight, Ilia goes viral after changing his Instagram bio. 15-0 UFC World Champion. Despite being 14-0 at the time, no belt, no title shot yet, but to him, it was already done. It doesn't stop there. Ilia goes on a press tour, telling the media exactly what's going to happen in the fight.
I see myself knock him out in the first 2 rounds.
And the silence that followed said everything. A few months later, Ilia made the same call against Max Holloway.
Ilia, why do you think that you're the person that can knock out Max? He's never been knocked out in his career.
Because he never faced Ilia Topuria. He never faced El Matador. He never faced someone like me. Never.
And you already know how that ended.
Massive knockdown for Topuria, and still, he does it again.
And here's the part that nobody talks about. It's not just Ilia. All the greatest champions, they predict the future like they're fortune tellers.
All of you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him. I know you got him picked, but the man's in trouble. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
The real question is, what's the secret? The year 1992. A war broke out in the country of Georgia. What started a fight for territory became something darker. Over 10,000 civilians were killed. More than 200,000 ethnic Georgians were forced from their homes. Ilia Topuria's parents, Zaza and Inga, escaped the genocide and fled to Germany. That's where he was born, in 1997, alongside his brother Alexander. Ilia was only 4 when he looked at his brother and said, "Let's wrestle." It didn't seem like much, but that moment would shape the rest of their lives.
With 4 years old, my dad put me with my brother in judo.
Ilia and his brother trained in different martial arts growing up. When he was 7, the war had ended and it was time to return to Georgia. That's when they started Greco-Roman wrestling, the first sport they dedicated themselves to. Things in Georgia weren't good. There was no money, no stability, just chaos. So their parents left for Spain, hoping to build something better, leaving Ilia and his brother behind.
The war started once my parents left us, year after or something like that, in 2008. When you are 8, 9 years old and you dealing with that kind of situation, you don't have your heroes with you, which are your parents with that age, it's a little bit difficult, but at this moment I appreciate everything that I lived because it creates the man I am today.
Rustavi, Georgia, wasn't the safest place to grow up in. The country was still recovering from war, and the streets had their own rules.
In Georgia, I was fighting every day.
Their mother Inga was quoted saying, "It was not rare, it was a daily routine. Whenever they were in the streets, they were fighting." Imagine, multiple boys would appear. They would come out and tell you they wanted your hat and your belt. There were 3 ways: giving up, running away, and fighting. Ilia and Alexander always preferred to fight. And at the end of the day, they always had their hat and belt.
We had difficult times, but today I appreciate everything that I lived because I wouldn't be here without that experience.
Zaza Topuria worked 7 days a week, doing whatever it took to bring his sons to Spain and give his family a fresh start. Their coach in Georgia thought they had a great future in Greco-Roman wrestling. He always said he could turn them into Olympic champions. However, life takes turns, and children have to be at their parents' side. A gold medal is nice, but being with your parents is more important.
Then we moved to Spain when I was 15 years old, and completely by chance, We find the gym and we started training the MMA, the mixed martial arts.
Totally by chance.
Totally by chance.
We wanted to keep with the Greco-Roman wrestling, but they didn't have the culture of that sport.
We were a little bit sad, because we wanted that sport. My brother was really, really good. I didn't know anything about the mixed martial arts. I didn't know anything about the BJJ, the ground game, anything. My mom saw in the street a man with a cauliflower ear. You can identify very fast a wrestler or a fighter.
When you see that, not to with that person.
She went to him and she asked him what you doing, because my kids want to do wrestling. Do you train in some gym or something? And he said, no, I'm doing the BJJ. Bring your kids and I'm gonna show you the gym. She came to home and my dad and my mom, they started to convince us, there's a gym, they are practicing jiu-jitsu, MMA, all the sports. And I was like, but what the is this? I don't know what's this. And my dad started to show me the videos of the Gracies. He told me this is one of the best sports in the world right now. You are gonna guys love it, this and that. And at that day, we went to the gym and I fell in love since the first second. Since the day we step in, we didn't came out until now.
Cuando entré, el ambiente, el panorama que vi, veía a los chicos entrenando y la verdad que el ambiente me inspiró muchísimo y dije, este es el sitio.
I didn't know even how to say hello,
Ellos llegaron y tenían base de lucha, tenían ganas de seguir entrenando porque son muy guerreros y aparte tienen un don, ¿no? Que aprenden todo rapidísimo.
And I was training all the time. The coach was explaining me all the techniques in Spanish, and I learned to talk in Spanish in 6 months. And I was young,
Right.
When you are young, it's a little bit easy. When I was 15 years old, I go with my brother to talk to my father, and we tell him hey, Dad, we don't want to go to school anymore, but we really want to train, and we're gonna go all day, every day into gym, and we're gonna train, because my dream was to get to fight in the UFC. And he told me if you're really gonna train all the time, like you tell me, you have my approval.
And you just went to the gym all day?
All day. And I started with my brother. We were the first people to go inside the gym and the last ones to leave it. So we were studying every day, all day, so obsessed. We were watching all the videos of Julio Cesar Chavez, of Canelo, all that, practicing all the techniques, and we were drilling that.
Wow.
The whole day, all the drilling.
Single legs, double legs, I don't know, the cage work, and boxing, kickboxing, elbows, knees, I don't know, whatever. How can we develop our cardio or strength or power or whatever? I was so obsessed with everything. I was working all day, every day. That was my obsession.
But there's not a professional UFC fighter that's coaching you guys with your career.
No, not even a professional boxer or professional.
At all.
No one.
Pero también a la vez siempre quería encontrar hacer algo a lo que le pudiera dedicar mis ganas, ¿sabes lo que te digo? Y al final cuando entrenaba después dije, pero ¿por qué no me dedico y hago al 100% esto? Porque yo cuando era pequeño, una frase que se me quedó en la cabeza que me decía siempre mi entrenador de lucha era: el que quiere cazar 2 conejos al final no caza ninguno.
After 2 years of training, he was ready for his MMA amateur debut. But there was a problem.
En un momento para nosotros era muy difícil conseguir peleas fuera de acá. En España estaba todo muy poco desarrollado.
Then the opportunity came, in the least expected way. His debut fight happened in front of the Terminator himself, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
When I was 17 years old, they did a competition called Arnold Fighters. It was an MMA competition. And when I go to the competition, my fight was the first fight, And before I start the fight, Arnold come to the cage, And he watched just my fight.
Wow.
El hombre solo estuvo 10 minutos ahí. Y de 10 minutos, los 10 estuvo viendo mi pelea. Las casualidades en la vida no existen. Nunca. Es un destino que Dios tiene para ti.
1 year after his amateur debut, When Ilia turned 18, he stepped into his first professional fight.
Súper nervioso, como que no quería ni subir, dudaba, yo decía, ¿qué coño hago aquí? ¿Por qué no he estudiado? ¿Por qué no le hice caso a mis padres? ¿Qué hago aquí?
From the opening seconds, Topuria was in control. He took his opponent down, locked him in a crucifix, grounded and pounded him. Then, without hesitation, finished him with a reverse triangle. Despite how fighting made him nervous, it didn't stop him. Just 1 month after his debut, Topuria stepped in again. 63 seconds later, his opponent was unconscious from a rear naked choke. He was only 18, and already a problem. That's when it became clear. This wasn't luck. This was something else.
So from Spain to get to the UFC was so difficult. I had to do so many crazy things to get to the UFC. And at some point it was so difficult to find a fight for me because in Spain at that point we didn't even had any events, you know. I was like, listen, I have to do something because no one is gonna come to me and touch my door. I started to talk to myself. I'm like, what can I do? At that point, Alexander Gustafsson was fighting for the belt against John Jones. And that guy was training in Sweden, in All Stars Gym at that time. And that was the most recognized like gym in Europe. So I'm like, I need to go there because I know that someone is gonna see me, and the only thing I need an opportunity. I need a fight. I need to prove my skills. Then I had the second problem, that I didn't have enough money to travel because you need money to go from Spain to Sweden and stay there, I don't know, for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. So I did, I don't know, crazy things with when I was 18 years old.
I was working in 4 works, you know.
What were the jobs, the 4 jobs? One was a cashier, right, at Stradivarius?
Yeah. I was doing grappling classes in another gym. I was working on the beach, yeah, and I was working on securities on the weekends.
Oh, wow.
I went to my first training. I finished the training, and the guy who was representing everyone at that time, and actually he's the manager of Kamzat also at this time, Kamzat Chimaev, you know. Once I finished the training, he came to me and he asked me like, do you have a manager? I'm like, no. Do you want me to represent you? And I'm like, this is why I came here.
Ladies and gentlemen, to the blue corner, Ilia Topuria.
In 1 week, he called me like, I have a fight for you. I started to fight in Finland, my first international fight. I finished him in the first round.
Hyvän aseman on pitänyt. Siitä tuli niskapuolella. Oho.
Nyt on sähäkkää
Siinä tuli rakenteeltaan sellainen kaveri, että sieltä se löytyi.
Ladies and gentlemen, winner by guillotine choke, Ilia Topuria!
3 weeks later, Ilia gets the call to fight for cage, but unfortunately, he wasn't eligible to win the belt. Ilia came in almost 5 pounds over the weight limit. Ilia signed with Brave FC and ran through everyone they put in front of him. Then he had a perfect knockout that made it impossible for the UFC to not notice him.
Here, let me show you this. This is guy Ilia Topuria, and Ilia Topuria is one of the absolute best fighters in the world, and the dude is just phenomenal.
2020 was supposed to be a banner year, a year now defined by a global pandemic.
The NBA is suspending the season.
While sports across the globe go dark, Dana White says the show will go on for UFC.
I don't give a
I get the call.
Oh, that's COVID.
Yeah, that's COVID. I was sick.
I test positive like 10 days before the fight, and they called me.
And they told me, do you want to fight in the UFC in 8 days? And I'm like, of course. I had to cut like 12 kilos. I had to spend a day in the hospital because the UFC is asking you for a lot of medicals. Then I had to go, I spent a day to get my visa. I had, in reality, 5 days.
Y dije, mira, las oportunidades no
no te vienen todos los días y menos así, ¿sabes? Esto es mi sueño y me da igual que tenga 8 días, yo voy a aprovechar mi oportunidad. Y ahí empezó toda la historia.
There's the newcomer, Ilia Topuria. Switching it. This is what the winner by unanimous decision. He is still undefeated. Ilia Topuria.
Ilia became the first Georgian black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, along with his brother Alex. Although the brothers started their journey together, as Ilia's career took off after signing to the UFC, Alex seemed to get left behind.
This year, since 2015, I become Ilia Topuria's my brother's coach. But when Ilia get the UFC contract, I start to train harder and little by little, like make fights when Ilia don't have fights. It was like a little bit difficult to me. My sacrifices, my hard work, you know, to like cancel my fight, to dedicate myself to him and everything like that. It was not just for him, for sure, it was for me too. If your brother is better than you, it's like, oh, I'm very happy for him and I will do everything to make that happen. That one day they're gonna say, Ilia, the greatest. This is what I want, this is my goal, and it's still my goal. Everything I do is for my family, and if I have to put on the side sport, my career, or something like that, because of one of my family members, I will not think twice.
When Alexander saw the opportunity in front of Ilia, he didn't hesitate and did what any loyal brother would do. He stepped back, putting his career on hold, and made sure his brother was ready for what they'd worked their whole life for. Ilia came into the UFC quiet. No hype train, no marketing push, but once the cage door closed, it didn't matter. 3 fights, 3 knockouts. All violent, all clean. He made it look easy. By his 4th fight, the UFC had seen enough. They gave him Bryce Mitchell, undefeated, ranked, and expected to be a real problem.
Wow, ragdolled him. Look at this.
Oh, that's tight.
He tapped. Still undefeated.
But it wasn't just Ilia's fighting skills that got him here. It was his mentality.
Many people need to see to believe. I believe and then I see.
Ilia is obviously talented.
Everything is so sharp. His technique is flawless. Everything's flawless. His boxing is so dangerous. He's so dangerous everywhere. He's dangerous with submissions. He's dangerous with kicking. He's dangerous. His heart is dangerous.
He isn't just a killer in the ring. His success starts with his strategic thinking. His fighting IQ is top tier.
Tactically, he's so smart. You know, so it's not just his ability, his skill, it's knowing when to apply it and how to adjust to different kinds of fighters.
But his strategy extends beyond fighting. He's also calculated in his trash talking, social media presence, and career plan.
Last time he got a hand sanitizer bottle bounced off his foot.
I don't understand you anything. Back in the flouty mouth, like what?
Hand sanitizer.
For example, he started recording footage to make a documentary about becoming a UFC champion, years before he even had a title fight. Why? Because Ilia thinks long term.
When I started with the Greco-Roman wrestling, my dream always was to become an Olympic champion, right? So it was always in my head that in everything I was doing, my dream always was to be the best in anything I was doing. So when I started with MMA, I was like, which is the biggest competition in the mixed martial arts? They call me the UFC. So since the first day, I was like, I will become a UFC world champion. I never was like, I want to become a UFC world champion. Will become a UFC world champion.
Most people want immediate success. They chase quick wins, shortcuts, anything that feels like progress now. It works in the short term, but it costs them later on. Ilia is different. He's playing a longer game, and it's hard to beat someone who's thinking years ahead while you're focusing on the next few weeks. That kind of mindset goes against human nature, but it works. Because real results don't come fast. They come from consistency over time. Warren Buffett made 99% of his net worth after 65. Conor McGregor made most of his wealth after 10 years in the game. It compounds in business, in fighting, in life. Ilia stays patient because he knows the work he's doing today pays off tomorrow and years from now. He shows up with a plan, and sure, most fighters say they do too, but in real life, most people don't. They just show up and hope for the best. So ask yourself, where could you be if you are the one with a plan when no one else has one?
I wake up in the morning, I pray. And I feel thankful about everything that's happening to me, for the opportunity. And I thank the God before I'm getting the victory, thanking to him like, thank you for the victory. As a kid, my coach in Greco-Roman wrestling, he used to say, you win the medals in the training. You just go to collect them in the fight.
And this has downsides.
You know, the confidence, it's very good. It could be called cocky though. And a lot of people feel like there's some pressure that comes with that.
Not for me, because I work hard. It's hard work and dedication.
I work so hard. I know everything that I did everything that I could. And there's no way that I'm not gonna walk out from that octagon with the victory.
From there is where the confidence comes from.
But the best military leaders throughout history have used the exact same tactic. In The Art of War, Sun Tzu says, so in war, the way is to avoid what is strong and strike at what is weak. Let your plans be dark and impenetrable at night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt. Ilia uses strategy to his advantage, visualizing the fight before it even starts. He sees the outcome in his head, then makes it happen.
When I get the confirmation of the fight and I started watching his fights, I was like, when I knocked him out in the first round, there's no way he's gonna let me. At least.
I can't imagine taking a I can show you videos making the study of Charles, like, oh, that's how you guys study? Wait, what is this?
He gives me the resume of all his fights, all the punches he throws, everything he does, and which place in the octagon he feels comfortable. Like, for example, like the corner of the octagon is the number 1, the middle is the number 2, this place is the number 3. So we see in all his fights where's the number that he feels more comfortable. So I'm not gonna give you the chance to be there. I'm gonna fight for that place. I'm gonna put you in a place where you don't feel comfortable, where you don't know how to fight.
It's the same approach Conor McGregor used at his prime, breaking down opponents before the fight and finishing them exactly how he said he would.
Is this your toughest test today?
If Conor could fight half as good as he can speak, I think it would be.
Dustin thinks it's all talk, but when he wakes up with his nose plastered on the other side of his face, he's gonna know it's not all talk.
You know what's even more genius? He worked on the exact same thing and he mimicked what he was going to do in the green room. There's video of him.
Of who?
Conor. Conor pretending to be Aldo and then him showing what he's going to do in counter. He does the exact move in the green room, knowing, in the dressing room, knowing that that's going to be the fight.
How do you do that? How do you predict these
if you can see it here, and you have the courage enough to speak it, it will happen.
There's a Steve Jobs quote that ties all this together. He said, innovation is saying no to 1,000 things so you can say yes to the one thing that matters. Ilia takes this to another level. He combines discipline and mental focus to do the boring work that no one else wants to do, but brings the best results. Many people in MMA have one specific focus they're known for. Max Holloway is a boxer, Khabib is a wrestler, Alex Pereira is a striker. But Ilia is perhaps the most well-rounded fighter in the UFC right now.
People see a guy who can strike like you do, they kind of forget about the ground game. They forget that your ground game is very elite too. Which is really interesting because you tend to put people in categories of danger. But with you, it's all danger.
And that's because he works on everything, not just the stuff he enjoys. He's now known for his boxing, even though he grew up doing wrestling and BJJ. All of the greats do this boring work. Warren Buffett spends 6 hours a day reading annual reports. Stephen Curry would shoot 500 shots per day every day. So the question here is, What is the boring stuff that would help me get ahead, but I'm too lazy to do? Ilia has high standards. He doesn't settle for mediocrity. He doesn't just want to win a few fights. He wants to become champion. And once he's champion, he wants to be one of the greatest of all time. This is an idea that's echoed in all fields. If you want to be great, you have to aim to be the best.
So my mindset always was the same, exactly the same as I have right now. I'm like, if someone did it, I also can do it. And if no one did it, I can be the first one to do it.
This is the mentality. It's not to look up to to look down to someone.
Right.
It's not because of that. It's I want to experience that also, how it feels to be the number one guy.
After a 5-0 start in the UFC, there was only one name between Ilia and a title shot: Josh Emmett, his first top 5 opponent.
Right now, Ilia Topuria is showing the next level.
But I showed once again that no one can match my level of skill. I'm the next guy, without any doubt. I come what deserves to me, which is to be the number one, to take that UFC belt. And I want Alex to defend that belt.
What's next for you? I'm gonna wait for my title shot. I'm the next guy in the line. I can wait. One of the best skills I have is the patience. There is nothing in this life that can break my mentality. I show it tonight that no one can match my level of skill inside the cage.
Topuria is a nightmare.
Yes, he is.
He's a nightmare.
Yeah.
He's scary. What he did to Josh Emmett, I was like,
nasty.
Oh, man.
He's nasty.
Ilia was now the number one contender, first in the line to challenge Volkanovski, the pound-for-pound king. Volkanovski was in the middle of one of the greatest title runs the division had ever seen.
Too good! Holy shit! How you can't say he's the GOAT? Ilia been running his mouth. If he wants to keep going, I'll show him what's up and I'll squash him too.
He just seemed to be the unsolvable puzzle in the featherweight division, but Ilia seems to be confident that he had the answers.
He's saying a lot of bullshit. There's levels. I have this and I have that. Yes, you're right. There are levels. There are levels. Then there is me. I'm gonna dominate him everywhere. I'm gonna make him look like a punching bag. You will see. I will be dancing February 17th.
This is one of the best fighters in the world, one of the best fighters of all time, and you're talking like you're fighting me.
You are talking to the best fighters in the world right now.
To be honest,
one of the greats.
I don't care who believes in me and who not. The only one I need to believe in myself, it's me, and I do it.
Ilia is so confident he changes his Instagram bio to 15-0 UFC world champion before the fight. Suddenly, everyone was watching.
You know, someone's going to have to go onto their bio on their Instagram and change it literally themselves. So what a humbling experience that's going to be.
Do you think if you beat Alex, if all goes according to how when you beat him, as you would say, it would be immediate rematch, or do you think you would fight someone else?
The way I'm gonna beat him, they don't even gonna ask me about the rematch.
Wow.
I believe that he'll be getting taught a lesson, maybe a bit of humbling. Maybe he's a good kid, but he is definitely confident, cocky, I would say. Some people may say it's a little bit delusional. I've said that myself.
Every day I wake up, I say to myself, you have 2 options right now. Keep dreaming with your dreams or wake up and make it reality. And I choose the second option always.
I'm gonna prove myself that it doesn't matter where you come from if you know where you're going, and it's much more important what's in front of you than what's behind you.
Yeah.
You just have to trust yourself, work tirelessly, have faith, and everything is possible in this life.
It doesn't matter what people say or what people think about me. I know that I'm going to be the biggest superstar in the UFC because of all the things you are going to see.
It's fight day, and Ilia did everything he said he would, and said it first.
When you have a dream since you are a kid and you are able to achieve, and you look up and you see yourself on the screen,
and Dana's putting you the belt around. I visualized that moment so many times. Look at myself in the mirror after the shower or something, and like closing the eyes and visualizing all that things, and then see it in reality. It's something that you can't describe with a simple.
You don't sleep. It's impossible to sleep.
You had world champion and 15-0 in your Instagram bio, but I noticed that's not there anymore. Is there any particular, there's now like a quote there.
Yeah, because right now my goal before this fight was to become a UFC World Champion. Right now I'm UFC World Champion, so I have a different goals right now. I want to be a legend. I just write the history. Right now it's time to write the legend.
Winning the belt was just the beginning. Ilia's vision extends beyond the title, and it starts with Max Holloway.
UFC 300, how good is this, folks? Holloway just told us, they're right here. 1 second to go. Oh my goodness! An absolute stunner at 300. That was crazy. That's a warrior.
I say, I'm him, guys. Guys, there's the El Matador. He is running away from Abu at 145. Tell him sign the gun contract.
But you know the technique behind that knockout, and it was zero. Just an exchange and a bar.
I mean, your face says otherwise, so it is what it is, brother.
I challenge you to have that exchange, but in the first 10 seconds of the fight, and you will see what's gonna happen. When you face a fighter like me inside the octagon, who brings that technique and that power, you can't do that.
He has a great chin. I don't want never ever the people to know me as the greatest chin in the UFC. That means that I take a lot.
Hit too much.
Too much. I don't want that. I don't want the greatest fight in the UFC history, because that means that I have.
It was competitive.
It was very competitive. I want to dominate people. I want to maul people, and this is what I'm gonna do with Max. So I'm gonna make him look easy.
We already know who is the world champion. We're gonna find out that I'm the BMF also. I will be there in the middle of the octagon in the first 10 seconds. I want to offer the most excited first seconds in the UFC history.
If he stays in the middle of the octagon in the first 10 seconds of the fight, you're gonna see the fastest knockout in the UFC history, because I know how good I am inside that octagon. I'm the best. Trust me, I'm the best.
Ilia, why do you think that you're the person that can knock out Max? He's never been knocked out in his career.
Because he never faced Ilia Topuria. He never faced El Matador. He never faced someone like me. Never.
He became one of the biggest stars in the sport.
Seeing you just a few days later walk out on the pitch at the Bernabeu with all those legends there and seeing you kick the ball, like, this is not something that UFC champions get, MMA champions get. Seeing you with the president of Spain, seeing the attention that you got in Georgia and in Spain when you landed, seeing you with Leo Messi and all those, like, this is, I don't know if we've ever seen anything like that. You know, even with the likes of Conor McGregor, this type of reception.
Because I called the shot before, I was saying to everyone, like, I will become a UFC World Champion because I sacrificed a lot of things and this and that, and I think they find like some kind of inspiration and motivation in me. You know, it was the main reason that I get so much love from them. It wasn't because I just became a UFC World Champion. You know.
You had a rose in your hand, and then you put the rose in the middle of the cage. What did that signify? Why did you do that?
So it's El Matador thing, you know. Every time El Matador walks in the arena, the people is showing him the gratitude and the respect, showing him a rose. And after El Matador finish the bull, he shows the respect to the bull, and he chose a rose to do it. So I wanna do that. After I finish my opponent, I wanna show my condolence and respect to him, to my opponent, and to his team, leaving a rose in the middle of the cage.
Here's a guy and his brother living in Georgia, go to Spain. This is not a UFC market. And then you guys, through YouTube, watching videos, you train independently on your own. And then you come up, and then fighter of the year, undefeated.
We sat down in Anaheim, right? I sat in that room, and you had your team, and you were telling me all these things that was gonna happen. And They're all on the side, and they're all going, yeah. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, yo, it's much harder when you're in there with that dude.
Exactly.
And I even said it to you. But then you go out there and you did all that. Where does that confidence come from?
From hard work, from all the sacrifices that I know that I'm making in all the training camps I have, because I know that there is a God in the sky who is seeing all the work you're putting in something in the desire you have for. Yeah, I have that belief, and at the same time, I used to say like this, that both faith and fear demand you to believe in something that you never saw, and I always prefer in things that make me feel happy. There are two types of champions for me. Like, there are champions who prepare themselves to win, and there are the other ones who prepare themselves to dominate. I prepare myself not to win because I know that I'm gonna win. I want to maul people. I want people to be entertained. I want people to be like, wow, I'm happy that I spent the money this Saturday night going watch this guy.
There's people that train to compete, there's people that train to win, and then there's people that train to dominate, to be the greatest of all time.
Ilia, you called this. You said you were going to come in here and you were going to knock him out in the first round. Why did you believe that was going to happen?
I already said it. I represent the new generation of the mixed martial arts. This is the next level of the game. What I represent.
All the time I go inside the octagon, I don't go there just to win. You know what I mean? I want everyone to be like, wow, what he just did. How he did it. He was the greatest of all time, and he made him look easy.
Yeah.
This is what I want. I want to change the game, you know? I want you to say, your friend, watch this guy and learn something.
Well, mission accomplished. So far, you're right? So far, so good.
Čempioni als UFC.
Goed.
Topuria, čempioni.
Kachta! Wow! Wow, what a symbol! Wow, what a symbol! Shemi! Metki bicho, ikneva, metki ukweva, sala gamo weekend. Wow, Schengen nationale, ja? Wow, ich sag da, bicho, da metki, aber metki gat, arme, metki. Au, sacho.